What is up, Hankiboy here, and today we are going to look at the state of Den Matter's development. For those of you who do not know, Den Matter is an upcoming zombie survival FPS being developed by Quantum Integrity Software, and it's set for a closed alpha sometime in July 2020. So far we've talked about our character creation, our stats, our health, the inventory. We've also talked about base claiming, upgrading our settlements, and building improvements. Today we are going to dive into the world of Den Matter. So where does the action take place, the map size and the general layout of the map, the points of interest or the POIs, and the things you will find in the world. I will also talk about the seasons and the weather mechanics, who and what you'll stumble upon in the world, and I'll give you a few examples of what you can do in game and the type of interactions you can expect to have with the world's elements. Before we start this, when you're done watching this video, do check the pinned comment in the comment section below. If you haven't checked it already, there's a link to my base building video, and there is info in there for a contest I'm running to win a Den Matter access key. If it's past the 1st of September 2020 or the channel has more than 250 subs, do not bother, it's too late, that game key has already been given. Alright, let's start this with where the action will take place in the world of Den Matter. The main map will be set in southern Alberta, which is a province of Canada. The main town is heavily inspired by real-life southern Alberta town Canmore. The main map will be roughly 16 kilometers by 16 and will have natural features mimicking the actual Canadian Rockies. A secondary map depicting Calgary, Canmore's nearest real-life city, will be another place you can travel to. Calgary will feature, of course, more of an urban environment and will offer a different experience than rural Canmore. The map for Calgary is planned to be around 6k by 6k. The way you will travel to Calgary is by either reaching the eastern border of Canmore's map or through a few travel points known to everyone on the map from which you will be able to fast travel in a sense. Upon our arrival in Calgary, you will choose from a list of preset spawn points to spawn in. Also, you will be able to discover more spawn points as you explore the city. There will be a loading time between the maps, but given the hundreds of kilometers between Canmore and Calgary, it should not take too much away from your immersion. Also, as per one of the crowdfunding stretch goals, a map of the island of Vancouver, which is on the Canadian West Coast, will be added to the game, but only after the Steam release. Alright, so now that we have an idea of what the map is going to look like and where the action is taking place, let's talk about some of the things you will encounter in the world. The things you will encounter most often will be points of interest. The current list of POIs is extensive and it's growing with every new dev update. I'll have a list of everything I can gather up on screen since I won't be able to talk about each of them. POIs will be in the form of buildings such as a church, a police station, or a supermarket. They can also be in the form of areas such as farmland, mines, or construction sites. They can also take the form of past events caused by the zombie apocalypse, such as, let's say, a crashed vehicle on the side of the road or a crashed plane in the middle of the woods. Abandoned military checkpoints, a highly infected neighborhood full of the remnants of the efforts done by NEMA to contain whatever it is that is causing the zombie uprising. The last type of POIs you can encounter are the more determinate kind of POIs with really specific mechanics, such as a functional go-kart track, radio station that you can actually broadcast from, water towers to control the water supply of the town, electrical substations to power up whole neighborhoods, a functional drive-in theater, and so on. POIs will be your main spot to scavenge for goods. The loot you find in those POIs will be relevant to the POI itself. So let's say you're looking for food, well, you will go to the supermarket. Looking for weapons, hit the military checkpoint. You need tools and building materials, you hit the hardware store, and so on. Also, they have made most of the buildings modular, meaning most buildings that repeat themselves, such as a gas station, for example, will have slight variants, making for a more realistic and immersive world. Some POIs will be procedurally... Sorry guys, I have a hard time pronouncing that word. In case you did not know, English is not my first language. So yeah, sometimes I can have a hard time with those words. Anyways, So yeah, some of those POIs will be procedurally placed around the world, so each server will have slightly different POI placement depending on the seed used by the server. On one server you might find a military checkpoint at a certain place on the road. On another server it's going to be a NEMA camp. On another server there's going to be maybe absolutely nothing. Of course, this is going to be great for replayability and will push players to explore the map when they join a new server. Some POIs will have puzzle-like mechanics to gain access to them and the loot inside. It can be as basic as finding a key to unlock the entrance door, up to having to repair the local power station to then power up the POI to be able to activate a water pump that will clear the entrance. And of course, you have guessed it, the harder it is to enter, the better the loot you will find inside. You will also be able to find faction-owned settlements scattered around the map. Factions are not really defined right now, but they should range from your average suburban neighborhood survivors to bands of angry cannibals. You will also find some safe zones ran by NPCs. Those safe zones will be hubs for quest givers and traders. And lastly, as part of the endgame, there will be procedurally generated bunkers. Those bunkers will hold the best loot, but will also be the hardest to navigate. Bring a flashlight and ammo. Of course, with so many things to see and explore, you will need a way to get around. And let me tell you, the vehicle mechanics in Den Matter is not something they have overlooked. There will be plenty of ways for you to get around, from bicycles, sedans, and pickup trucks, all the way up to trains, choppers, and planes. Of course, although you might get lucky and find a functional vehicle, it's most likely you will first get your hands on a fixer-upper. Get some air in those tires, fill her up with gas, get some fresh spark plugs, and make sure your battery is charged, and you should be good to go. Of course, this is the zombie apocalypse. You will need to safely haul all the shit you gathered on your successful scavenge run. To facilitate this, you will be able to upgrade your vehicles to a point where even Mad Max himself would be proud. You will be able to add protection, plows, winches, spare tires, window grills, and so on. Also, to help you haul your precious loot around, you will be able to tow a whole range of different trailers. And to help you navigate the world, you will have access to different tools such as maps and GPSs. And if you have none of those, you'll have plenty of signs along the roads telling you where you are and where you are headed, and also easily spottable features all around the world, such as a radio tower to help you figure out where you are at. Next thing we're going to talk about is the environment. Den Matter will feature a highly accurately simulated environment system. So let's start from the top and work our way down on this one. First, the seasons mechanics. You will have to prepare and adapt your playstyle according to the current and even the upcoming season. So of course, each season will give you different challenges. In summer, you will have to deal with the heat, of course. You will have to dress lighter to avoid complications like heat strokes, but you will also have to think about your perishables, like your fresh food, that will spoil faster. Do not forget, this is going to be in Canada, so winters are kind of fun when it's all fine and dandy, but in the apocalypse, it's going to be another story. You will need to find shelter and heat. Also, do not forget that things will freeze and you won't be able to rely on farming as a source of food. Following the seasons, there will be a day and night cycle. I will not go too in depth on that one, but one little feature worth to mention is that the moon phases will impact our vision. It will be easier to navigate at night during a full moon than it will be during a new moon. There will be a simulated weather system, so different temperatures, overcast, rain, fog, and just your general weather stuff and all the challenges those bring. You will have to adapt to the changing weather, of course, either by changing your clothes or by finding shelter, and be mindful of the weather. Being caught off guard by fog while you are scavenging in the forest might not be the best situation to find yourself in. And lastly, tying into the environment, there will be an atmospheric system linked to the weather and the location you are in, just to make it a little bit more tense for you when you'll be doing whatever it is that you are doing. Alright, so that pretty much sums it up as far as the world Den Matter is going to be set in. But just before I end this, I will go through some of the mechanics the devs are throwing in there that, in my opinion, will make the world feel alive and realistic. So when you'll be out scavenging or doing anything really, searching cupboards, repairing your car, walking, handling your weapon, you will be making noise, and noise will attract disease. Just something to keep in mind. There will be farming, hunting, and fishing mechanics as a way to help you survive. How realistic and in-depth those are going to be, I am not sure, but those are definitely something I'm going to be trying out. All around the world, you will be able to find some information on what happened. So newspapers, voicemails, notes left by loved ones, and just a bunch of things laying around that will help you piece together the lore of Dead Matter. I'm really looking forward to those. There will be random world events such as famines affecting a certain type of crop or food, or other things like helicopter crashes. Just stuff to mess with your well thought out plan, you know? There will be NPCs doing their own thing all around the map. Some will be as simple as lost families just trying to make it. Others will be well-established factions running the show in their territory. Avoid them or meet them head on. One thing is for sure, they will be something to keep in mind when planning your scavenging runs. Some NPCs will give you quests or tasks to complete for them or their faction. I won't go too far into this since we do not have that much info, but it's just another thing you'll be able to do. And lastly, the voiceover IP. Is that what VoIP stands for? Voice over IP? I don't remember. Anyway, that when you talk in game, if you use the in-game chatting thing, it doesn't matter. It will be affected by the environment and won't make it through structures. So let's say your buddy is in trouble inside a sewer and he's calling for help, but you are on the street level. You might never notice until it's too late. And there you have it. I believe this should give you a good idea of how much work the devs have put and are still putting into the world to make it feel as alive and realistic as possible. Personally, I cannot wait to jump in game. So far we have seen the character mechanics, the base building systems, the world. In the next vids I'll be talking more about what and who will populate the world, so the enemies, a little bit more about the NPCs, the animals, and the mechanics surrounding them, and in another vid we will be covering the weapons. I have a couple more video ideas lined up after those. You definitely do not want to miss those, so don't forget to subscribe, hit that notifications bell, and if you enjoyed the video and I managed to get you pumped for Dead Matter, do not forget to like the video and comment below, and I will see you in the next one.